This is Abigail Barella with Sparkle and Shine Guidance. It's a little bit cooler and more dreary where I am for me to be doing our new moon in Cancer forecast, but it is eclipse season. This is a powerful eclipse on June 20th if you're in Pacific Standard Time. It's the evening of June 20th, and June 20th is also the solstice. And this is happening, it's very unique because this eclipse is happening at the exact moment that the sun moves into Cancer, which is the exact moment that we enter the solstice, the summer solstice energy. And summer solstice is the longest day of the year. And so right now, we are currently at the end of Gemini season. We'll have 6 planets retrograde at the eclipse. And this powerful eclipse, being at 0 degrees of Cancer, is really our reinitiation back to ourselves and source and our connection to source as a nurturing connection. So nurturing our own connection to source, nurturing our own connection to ourselves. You know, I'm reminded of Cancer is the first water sign in the zodiac. It is cardinal water. It is the start. So I'm constantly reminded, I worked as a doula for a long time, and I'm constantly reminded of the amniotic fluid and how that soothes and calms the baby. And as the baby is born and it loses that connection to the amniotic fluid, the way that they find their way to the mama's breast, to the breast milk, to the sustenance of the earth, is the matching the smell of the amniotic fluid to the smell of the mama's nipples. And there's so much magic in just that simple fact. And this idea of finding our way back to sustenance and to nurturing at this total solar eclipse when there is so much chaos energy around us. And it's not a surprise. It's also an election year. It's also a time period where a lot of things are energetically shifting. And so therefore we're being shown that in our external experience. And this is the invitation to go internal, to go into our own source of nurturing. We're all born, we are all babies, and we've had many different experiences in that coming into being. And some of us have a more easeful transition, and some of us have a more tricky transition. Regardless, at this time, we're being asked to draw upon that kind of the courage that was necessary to be born, and the courage that was necessary to know that our connection to source is going to stay strong no matter what. The North Node has just recently moved into Gemini. And so we're having this eclipse, and this is a transitionary eclipse because we're coming into, this will be the last eclipse in Cancer that we'll have for another 18 years. So because of that, it packs a punch. We have the moon and the sun in Cancer, and we also have Mercury retrograding in Cancer. When Mercury is retrograding during an eclipse season, it gives us that much more importance, especially when it's in the same sign as where the eclipse is happening. It gives extra significance and importance to our own processing. Eclipses usher in brand new energy. So therefore, we will be ushered into new territory within ourselves, seeing things in a whole different way, understanding our experience to our intuition and to energetics in a whole new way. This is an opportunity to really go deep within, do that deeper healing work, do that deeper connection work, because it's essential. It's essential this time. We are in a year, we're at the end of this month, so about 9 days after this eclipse, we will have a powerful conjunction again with Jupiter and Pluto, which is going to stir up some external things in our environment. And so it's ultra important at the new moon that we really recalibrate back into ourselves, re-usher in what we know to be true in the cells of our body, in the bones, in the structure, in our ancestors, in our really deep connection to all that is, that unity consciousness. And we are told over and over again of our separateness as individuals, as families, as colors, identities, different ways of separating ourselves. But this new moon is about the nurturing of all beings and our unity consciousness. And that really was present at the moment we were born. And we can tap back into that. So the other interesting thing with this new moon is that we have Saturn retrograding at 0 degrees of Aquarius at exactly the same degree, but in Aquarius. And what that's showing us, Saturn will be moving back into Capricorn until December. And so this is a last little kind of awakening to that newer energy of Saturn in Aquarius before we kind of go back and do some more digging and more systematic uprooting and structural changes that need to happen. So it's really important that at this new moon, we really focus. I keep telling people, focus on the vision, focus on how you want things to be, how you want to feel, how you want to experience community, how you want to experience the system. If we can't hold that and if we can't see that, then all that we can see is the problems. All that we can see is focusing on the things that already aren't working and kind of exemplifying them more or bringing them into focus more. We really want to focus on the change that we want to see and embodying that. And if we can embody that, if we can't share what we have with others in a loving way, in a kind way, then we really have nothing to work towards. So we really want to focus on the work that we want to see in the external world and doing that at this eclipse season in the interior world. 6 planets retrograde is telling us that this is an internal process, that when we change the internal, we start to see things differently and we start to vibrate differently and people respond to us differently. And that's when we see the great awakening, as some people are calling it, or the great ascension, or the great expanding of our consciousness that is just naturally happening at this time. It is because that is naturally happening at this time that we're seeing all this chaos energy. So it's even more important to unplug from that a little bit and tap back into what you know is love, what you know is nurturing, what you know is sustenance, and come at sharing with people from that place. So that's just kind of like the insight from this total solar eclipse. It is a rebirth. It is new energy coming in. You'll often see babies born at this time. Sometimes you'll see people going off the planet at this time because they want to start a new cycle. Not because they want to end something, but because they want to start something new. This is bringing in new, fresh energy. So where can you welcome this into your life? Look at what house this is happening in for you so that you can understand where you can invite in new, fresh energy, where you can really focus on intention setting and being intentional with your words, your thoughts, your actions, because it's so vital at this time. There's so much I want to say more about Cancer, but I'll just end by saying, if you haven't checked out my other video, I'll have another video up about Mercury retrograding in Cancer, and I have a few other ones about Saturn in Aquarius. If you want to support my work, I really welcome you to support this work, and I'm going to post my Venmo below, and you can also just check out the services that I have on my website. I am starting an 8-week journey at the new moon in Leo, I'm starting August 19th, which is right around that time, that window of the new moon energy. We often call that new moon and that time period as the Lion's Gate. And so we're going to be going into our courage to ascend together. And this journey towards ascension is an 8-week journey that I'm hosting and holding space for. And we will be meeting online, and then I'll be doing individual work with those participants as well. So I really invite you to check into that work, see if it aligns, see if it fits in with what you're working on, see if you feel called to what I'm speaking of. And other than that, this new moon opportunity at 0 degrees of Cancer is an invitation to your own connection, to your own mothering of yourself and your own nurturing and your own sustenance. So I just invite you to do that work. Have a beautiful day. Take care.